Dr. Haver struggled with his things, juggling his bags as he searched for his keys. He hadn't needed them yesterday, but a call about a potential attack on the hospital had raised security, making his life harder, but he couldn't really complain. The guards shouldn't be letting him in anyway. That's what the keys were for. A jingle from his jacket rang out the sound of success, pulling them from the pocket triumphantly and causing him to drop one of the bags, a few items scattering to the floor beyond. A napkin of great import to him was among the scattered items, so he grabbed it first, smiling to himself as he secured it in a pocket. Putting the other bag down, he gathered the items, retrieving and restuffing the bag before opening the door. It was nice and warm in the building, not the late autumn of Canada beyond. Bags on the floor again, he removed his coat and hat, greeting the guard with a nod before heading for his office. He had a host of security checks to do. Log in to the clinic and check in on their star patient being the first thing on his mind. But behind that lay the memories of last night. The first time he had gone on a date and loved every moment of it. He couldn't help but smile as he filled the mini-fridge in his office. 2 bags of snacks and drinks for the week. Soon he was at his desk, sitting back in the recliner. He donned the virtual access laurel, his neural computer going through the high security checks with the clinic, before he was able to enter its virtual halls. The world slipped away as the connection began to open. As his mind slipped from the fizz to the virtual, he suddenly felt the memories of Winnie flow past him. Every laugh she had elicited, her wide and happy grin, every part of her was peeling out of his mind, dragging pieces of him with it. Lawrence struggled against them, peeling pieces of his mind away. He felt like there would be no Dr. Haver soon, just a vegetable in a recliner. As the last of the memories pulled free, he could see Winnie, wearing that grin, now cold and monstrous. What good is a security system? He thought. It was supposed to detect invasive programs, stop them in its tracks. How could it do this to him? Dr. Haver appeared in the virtual halls of the clinic. Its clean, bright walls and rich, soft carpets were designed to put patients at ease, but its strict rules ensured they could not harm themselves or others. A wide grin spread across his face as he walked. He knew where he was going, every code and face, even the layout of the clinic. It didn't take long to reach the high security wing. His codes worked perfectly as he stepped through the security barrier, a solid wall to patients and visitors, but not the facility's director. Beyond it were the worst care cases, the violent and manic. The virtual was even softer here, practically a plush reality. Each patient isolated from the others by the rules of the realm. Only the doctors could see them all. They were intangible and insensible to each other, preventing any fighting between them, even the verbal kind. The isolated nature of the patients made the environment small, only a handful of rooms and a small area of open grounds. Easy to find someone, no place to hide. With a thought, the location of his target was revealed, in his room by the window. The doctor turned out of the lounge and headed directly for him. It was a short walk to the door, and in the polite tradition, he knocked before entering. A quick tap-tap before pushing it open. The room beyond was much like the rest of the facility, clean and bright, furnished with soft chairs and bed. a large bay window overlooking the grounds and a decorative forest beyond. Orissa was sat in a chair closest to the window, turned fully to face the gardens beyond, but his eyes were cast skyward, critically examining every cloud and flock of birds. The knocking and opening of the door had not disturbed his watchful eye, nor did the sound of it closing again. Dr. Haver stood in front of the door, the smile dropping away. Even the disguise of his exterior began to fade, soon revealing the soft feminine features of Winnie, the name she had used during the date. "Hello, Ambassador. My name is Nicole, and I am here to help you." Orissa had not been called Ambassador since the Kraken had attacked him. It drew his attention to the unfamiliar woman. She was dressed as though she were going out on a date, nothing like the doctor's, and he had been denied visitors since the incident on Mars.
"Who are you? Did the Kraken send you?"
Orissa rose from the chair and took a defensive position, but she had nothing to fear from him. This realm ensured he could not harm anyone, but she never liked rules. Time began to flow past her like treacle. The ambassador's actions slowed to a fraction of hers, allowing her to calmly walk over to him, and with the softest smile and gentlest touch, she dragged his mind into the virtual body of the doctor. She could not leave yet. They would notice his absence, but she had already collected a suitable replacement. Pulling on the threads of the doctor, she gathered what was left of his mind together, just enough to stare blankly, wrapping it in the form of Orissa and guiding him into the same chair. He dutifully stared out of blank eyes. For a moment she eyed him critically, before tilting his head slightly upward. With a smile, the form of Winnie dropped away, leaving the good doctor's smiling form. A small skip in his step, he casually walked out of the clinic, returning to the vacant body of the doctor and out into the cool autumn air.